not just a femboy, he wants to have gay incestuous with his older brother Radon, and now they're gay lovers for eternity. But it gets worse. I don't know, man, am I completely schizo for pointing out that this DLC released in Pride Month and has all of this gay content? The ridiculous part about Mikola is that he can actually turn your character gay.
Alright, so on the channel, we've seen a lot of dumb takes over the last couple months. We've seen fake Elden Ring DLC reviews, we've seen My Children Are a Disability, and we've even seen Elden Ring is a scam. But now I feel like we are at the final boss of shit takes with Elden Ring is gay. And that is coming from none other than the Synthetic Man himself. Now, before we get into the actual review, I need to tell you a little bit about this guy because he is a controversial figure. Now, last year, a lot of people told me to take a look at his Armored Core 6 review, saying that it was really bad. And after watching it, I thought he had some valid criticism. And I didn't think it was worthy to make a video about it at all because he was well-spoken, he was explaining his point clearly, and he was very good at reviewing video games, and I think he still is. The problem, though, is that he has an anti-woke agenda. This is the concept of his entire channel, and that's how he gets his views, that's what his audience likes, so he tries to find wokeness where there is none. Now, don't get me wrong, I really hate this new trend of going ultra woke when it's not necessary. Let me just show you this brief clip.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin, and are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Are you telling me with a straight face that C-3PO is straight?
They're a couple. That's what I think. But this is more outward.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Jody, can you tell us about your character?
So my character, you know, she's a powerful leader. She's a powerful leader. Yes, yes.
So this is an example of going way too woke where it's not necessary. Star Wars has always had extremely powerful women characters, main protagonists. So yeah, all this extra garbage they did was totally unnecessary, saying that the robots are gay, and that just backfired immensely. That show was canceled and they probably lost millions if not billions of dollars. So that's one example of when woke goes broke. But when you go in the other direction, you come up with ridiculous nonsense like what Synthetic Man's about to say. Now, the last piece of lore that I want to give you on Synthetic Man before we actually watch the video is that he's also a massive hypocrite. Last month, he tried to cancel Charlie, Penguin Zero. I covered it on my other channel, Brain Rot, and he was calling him a sellout.
Critical is the biggest sellout on this platform. His word is worth nothing.
But the thing is that Synthetic Man himself hates microtransactions. He's always calling it out, but yet he took a sponsorship from Raid's Shadow of Legends, and then he had the nerve to defend it, saying that he doesn't believe in it, basically proving that he's the definition of a sellout.
And 2021's Game of the Year is Raid Shadow Legends, is what I'm sure some of you think I actually believe. Honestly, I'm disappointed in a lot of you. Do you really think I believe a single word I said during that ad? And if you do, well, you're just an idiot. I hate to say it. And if you don't, then what's the problem? A lot of you seem to believe that this is going against my principles, or that I've deceived you or betrayed your trust in some way. If you actually watch my channel, you know that my position on microtransactions has always been that the idiot consumer is to blame for purchasing them.
So yeah, you don't like microtransactions, but yet you're pushing it on your audience who trust you and believe in you. That is what you call a hypocrite and a sellout. Now that you have all the context and the lore on this guy, let's watch the video. Oh, by the way, he talks about quite a few endgame spoilers, so if you haven't been in the game or you haven't been spoiled already, just maybe skip this part of the video.
Damn it! But I do want to talk about the story of this DLC really quick. So, some of you might remember Mikola, aka Melania's brother, the femboy who everyone loves for being the only good child in America's family. Well, of course, this being a From Software game, he's actually evil, and not just any type of evil. He's supposed to be a Griffith analog, and if you know anything about Berserk, you know that From Software references it a million times in their games. So Mikola has been using his mind control powers to basically make everyone love him. He wants to ascend to be a god. That's not really a problem. What is a problem is that he's not just a femboy, he wants to have gay incestuous sex with his older brother Radon.
What?
And because you killed him in the main game, and you also killed Moog, he uses Moog's body and infuses it with Radon's soul, and now they're gay lovers for eternity. But it gets worse. Radon isn't gay, or at the very least, he didn't want to be his brother's consort. So the background behind the cool opening movie that everyone's seen, where Melania fights Radon, is that Mikola made his sister go fight Radon to, like, knock some sense into him so that he would have gay sex with his brother. Holy shit, what the fuck is this lore, dude?
Holy shit, indeed. Your interpretation of the lore is so perverted, I'm starting to think you're pretty sus. Because where does it mention gay sex? It just doesn't. They're talking about being a consort, the person that is going to be kind of like the champion of the Elden Lord. Now, I could be wrong, but from my understanding, when Godfrey was Marika's consort, then yeah, of course, they were lovers because they were husband and wife. But if you choose the Age of the Star ending and you become Ranni's consort, does that mean you get to bang her in her forearms? I never thought about it that way. I guess this guy just sees this everywhere he looks. Now, if you look at the word consort, it does mean a husband, a wife, or a companion. So it's up to you to decide which meaning you want to give it. Now, I'm sure this guy is probably one of the only people on Earth that saw the final cutscene and said, yeah, Mikola wants to bang his brother. But let's keep listening.
I am so glad that I don't care about lore in video games anymore. I've seen some people try and blame this on George R.R. Martin, but has everyone just forgotten about Gwendolyn from Dark Souls? So I wouldn't be surprised if this is essentially Miyazaki's slash fiction between Guts and Griffith. And look, I obviously hesitate to call this DLC woke, but I am noticing From Software including more and more left-wing content into their games, whether it's the sheer number of girl bosses. Yeah, there's a lot more strong female knight characters in this DLC. There's also the Two Fingers priest dude, Ymir, who once you kill the Mother of Fingers in his basement, he becomes the mother, a man becomes a mother, and they don't try to explain it, and it sounds like pure, gross, autogynephiliac fetish content, and I killed him in 2 hits, just to completely ignore that bullshit.
Yeah, we're going to talk about his build a little bit later on, because that's how he chose to beat the game, is by one-shotting or two-shotting every single boss by using a broken build that would not be even working in the next couple weeks. But that's besides the point for the moment. We'll talk about that later. Now he's saying that there's too many women knights. There's too many female bosses. And that's the problem with this guy. This guy sees everything as man-woman instead of just seeing the game. For example, in his Fallout review, he says there were too many interracial couples. Take a look at this picture for a second. Most people that aren't completely affected by brain rot would say this is a happy family or a married couple with children, but Synthetic Man would say this is a mixed race couple, because that's what he sees first. He sees the race first and the person after. And he was complaining about that in his Fallout review, saying there was too many mixed race couples. It's like it really bothers him to see a white man with a black woman or vice versa. So I really don't understand what's the problem with this guy. He seems stuck in the 1920s or something, but let's keep listening to his review.
I don't know, man. Am I completely schizo for pointing out that this DLC released in Pride Month and has all of this gay content, or at least gay-aligned content in it? And I feel like the icing on top of this DLC is that the final cutscene is a flashback to Mikola talking about his brother like it's some kind of romantic thing and we should feel sorry for him. The Elden Ring lore is a clown show at this point. Oh, and how could I forget the most ridiculous part about Mikola is that he can actually turn your character gay. Thankfully, it didn't happen to me because of the extreme levels of cheese I was employing. But if Radahn grabs your character twice, he auto-kills you and gives you a unique death message. So are all the Souls fans who mindlessly repeat skill issue secretly gay? I'll let you decide.
So yeah, about the Radahn grab attack, it doesn't make you gay, it makes you brainwashed. I don't understand how he doesn't get it. That's the power of Mikola, is that he makes people adore him and he brainwashes them. It has nothing to do with sexuality or orientation whatsoever. But then again, when you have an agenda and you have to find wokeness in everything, you will find it. You will stretch the truth and you will stretch as much as possible so that it fits your agenda. Now, as for the rest of the Elden Ring review, it's not that bad, to be honest. He has some good points. Some areas are a little bit empty-ish. And when it comes to the actual build he used and how he wanted to play the game, he decided to Google the most broken build that is going to be fixed in the next couple weeks, and he just decided to one-shot every single boss with very little effort and basically not playing the game at all. But that's the way he wanted to experience it, and that's his choice. Let's take a look at his reasoning for a moment.
Don't worry, I have a solution for you. Just find the lightning perfume bottle, get the rolling sparks ash of war, then just equip the perfumer's talisman and the shard of Alexander, buff your lightning damage with your mixed potion, and now all you have to do is walk up to a boss, aim at the ground, press L2, and be fucking blown away at the sheer damage numbers. No doubts in my mind that the first major patch for this DLC will nerf this thing, because there's no way it's intentional that it does a third of a boss's health bar per hit. So I ended up beating the second half of the bosses in 1 to 3 tries, including the supposed hardest Souls boss of all time, which I'll never know if he really is, because, yeah, I even cheesed Radahn with this thing. And look, am I gonna claim I earned my victory, that I'm a god at Souls games? Hell no, of course not. But like I said, I just wasn't having fun anymore. These games have completely lost the plot. They've gone way off the deep end with the prepare to die shit. The mechanics can't support the complexity of the boss fights. Again, it's absolutely possible to do no-hit runs to these bosses, but is it worth dying 100 fucking times to learn the boss's moveset? I saved myself hours of frustration by using this perfume bottle. It might have not been satisfying or rewarding on any level to beat these bosses without really trying, but it was unironically more fun to me than the alternative.
So yeah, that's his point of view on how he beat the game, and honestly, I couldn't give two shits about it. Clearly, he says he wasn't having fun, it's not for him, he's not into Souls-likes anymore. So if you're not having fun and you want to just one-shot the boss and just cheese the game while it's not patched yet, sure, go for it, I guess. It was his money, he spent it on the game, and that's how he want to beat it, then more power to him. At least he's not like Asmongold, who pretends to be a pro Elden Ring player while he's cheesing the game with a great shield. That's just a whole other story. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Like I said, I think this was the final boss of shit takes. I keep saying that I'm going dark when it comes to this channel, that, you know, I'm moving on to other things with my other channels, but every time I say that, there's just one more garbage take that I have to take a look at. So let me know what you think about this one, because quite honestly, I feel like I lost a lot of brain cells during this process. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.